This is Saxon Math for 6th grade. We're doing lesson 102 today. This is the first half of the lesson. We're going to be talking about transversals. Trans, as a prefix, means across. A transversal goes across other lines. Here we have a picture, and I have two parallel lines. And then I have this line that cuts across both of them. That's my transversal. On your paper, please, draw two parallel lines, and then draw a line that cuts across them. It could go straight up and down and be a transversal. It can go sort of sideways. Both of those are fine. Label it as your transversal. Transversals are really neat because they allow us to use everything we know about angles to solve problems. Some of the angles in transversals have special names. Let's look at those before we go any further. When we look at the transversal, angles that are on opposite sides are called alternate. So if there's one angle on this side of the line and one angle on that side of the line, they would be alternate. If they're on the exterior of the parallel lines, they're called alternate exterior. So these are on the outside of the parallel lines, which is why they're exterior. B is on one side of the transversal, G is on the other. That's why they're called alternate. So B and G would be an example of alternate on other sides, exterior of the parallel lines, angles. If we had labeled this one as A, and this one as H, A and H would also be considered alternate exterior angles. All right, then we have interior angles. Exterior angles are on the exterior, the outside. Interior angles are on the interior of the parallel lines. They're on the inside. We want alternate ones. That means they're on different sides of the transversal. In this picture, C and F are alternate interior angles. They're interior of the parallel lines. C is on one side of the transversal, and F is on the other. That's what makes them alternate. If I filled in the rest of my letters here, D and E would also be considered alternate interior angles. They're on opposite sides of the transversal. All right, that's all the vocabulary. Now comes the fun part. You can solve lots of problems using the transversal. Here's what you need to remember. We learned before that if we have a line, kind of like we do for our parallel line, and another line crosses it, we know that these angles are the same. We also know that these angles are the same. Well, now we're just going to do this, but we're going to do it twice. Here's another parallel line, and we're just extending this one to make our transversal. This angle is the same as this one. This angle is the same as that one. Now look, I have four angles that are the same, and these four angles that are the same. If I look over here at this picture, I know that B is going to be the same size as C. They're vertical angles. And I know that F and G are going to be the same size. And all four of those are going to be the same sized angles. B is going to be the same as C, the same as F, the same as G. I also know that A and D are going to be the same size. A is going to be the same size as D. And those are going to be the same size as E and F. A note, this only works if we have parallel lines. If this line was at a different angle, it would be different. But because this transversal is hitting this line and that line at exactly the same angles, these angles are exactly the same, and these angles are exactly the same. Here's why that's awesome. If I know the measure of only one of these angles, I can figure out all the others. For example, let's pretend that angle B. Let's pretend that angle B is, let's see, it's less than 90. It's an acute angle. Oh, let's say it's Now I can solve everything else. If this is 60, start by looking here. 60 plus something will bring me to my straight line. 60 plus what makes a straight line? Wait a second, a straight line is 180. 60 plus what makes 180? Plus 120. Now I know that B and C are the same size, so this is also 60. I know that B and C and F and G are all the same size, which means that this is also 60, and this is also 60. I know that A and D are the same size, so if this one's 120, this one is also 120 degrees. I'll put in my little degrees here so we don't get confused. I also know that if A and D and E and F are the same size, then these are also 120. So transversals are really useful. They allow us to solve for multiple angles, even if you only had one. Use this information, please, to help you solve your problems today.